how am I going to provide for my family? I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I don't make enough money. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. And it was a very, very hard place.
I started breaking out, crying and I couldn't breathe in the middle of Target, all because I was buying a watch for work.
Come out of this with this clear picture of a right turn, and I just have peace, and I just sense God saying, I got you. All right, we've got another episode of Life Upside Down. Karina, we are well into our story. Here on Life Upside Down, we talk about real stories of broken people that point to a living God, and we've already got into some of the ways we've seen God move, and he's continued to move, and so we're going to dive into some more of that story, kind of where we left off. We just moved away from everything that we've ever known.
Our family, everything.
Family, the
hometown,
town that we were raised in.
To
and
a
it was
city
scary.
because we didn't know anybody. We have a couple friends, but it's just different.
Yeah.
And we have kids tagging along, so it's hard.
Yeah, so I want you to get in. Last time we left off, it was your worst nightmare. So I want you to dive in, maybe share some details of what that looked like.
Well, we moved because of a job opportunity that seemed like a huge, promising thing. Just growth for my career path, and then financial now that we have a family. So it just seemed like it made more sense to move. Also, we prayed about it, and it was very clear that we were supposed to move. But as we're obeying and pursuing this, there was a lot of opposition. Even the day we moved, it seemed so hard, made us doubt and wonder, did we really hear this from God? And so, which with that, I want to say, when God is calling you to do something, whether it's big or small, there's always going to be opposition and friction and things that happen that make you feel oh no, it's going to make you question, So anyways, we left off where I go to my first day. I'm really excited. I'm
you
nervous,
probably
but I'm
didn't enjoy
excited.
the drive because that was your first time driving.
Yeah.
I remember you had to drive across town, and you were not
I've only had
looking
to
forward
drive into a smaller
town. You hate
town.
driving in the big towns. Big
I
cities.
think it happened when I had kids though.
Did it?
I used to drive. I mean, I drove to New York, Michigan, Tennessee by myself. I loved it. Now when I have kids, I'm can't die. Can't die. So we gotta stay alive. I don't know. It's crazy.
Drivers around here are a lot crazier than our
Omaha's
hometown,
just
though.
it's definitely different where we moved. The drivers are crazy. Okay, so I go to my job, super excited. Right from the beginning, I'm just excited to meet new friends. When you work in this kind of field, you just kind of have to be a team. You know what I mean? You can't it's with nurses, you can't not get along when you have to work together.
And you have to communicate well, that kind of stuff.
So I'm I'm going to make friends. I have to, because we're going to work side by side. And the vibe in this place was so I don't know, nobody was, I didn't feel like anybody was friendly. and I'm just thinking maybe it's just a bad day. I don't know. Maybe they're just having a bad day. And I already felt like I was going to like the doctor because we interviewed and we met him and stuff. So I was okay, he's a great doctor. And his demeanor was just not the same.
Totally different.
Huh. Yeah, but and now I'm working with a specialist. This isn't even, I was used to general dentistry. This is just surgery under anesthesia or local, but it was just a different thing. And so anyway, so I'm kind of nervous, and it was just I don't know how to explain it. I felt I felt very deceived. And I had all the questions too. During that interview, I was asking questions about the team. I was asking questions on how things are done, how they handle conflict. I was asking questions because I'm about to make a big move. And what I stepped into was not at all what I was told. And so now, I don't know, there was a lot of yelling, in general.
Yeah.
I could tell there was a lot of manipulation with everybody. That's how you got things. There was a lot of earning your way. with like the higher ups, like you have to kind of, it was almost like everybody had to compete with each other and like push everybody under like each other under the bus to get like to be above
Very
each other,
toxic
to just
culture.
It was so bad, so bad. And like during surgery there'd be like yelling and like, oh, it was just so bad. And
are you having some anxiety just thinking about it?
It's taking me back.
Okay?
And it's been a while since I had to think about it. But anyways, now
that's
I'm
funny.
like, shoot. And I just remember wrestling with like, I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to tell you. And like, I'm just like, crap, what did I do? What, like, oh, you know, and I felt this pressure because like I was a breadwinner. You were a stay-home dad. And with that, even like, I was going to say, I at least had a career, like a passion that I liked.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind working because one, I knew my kids were with you.
Yeah.
But also you were still like looking and seeking like a job. So it's not like you were just there. You know what I mean? But I'm
we're
just
also,
like,
we were, as we've talked about before, we're like trying to do opposite shifts. Now we're not, you know, we're not
but like
home.
my job was like the main, like you had a side gig when I got home, but it wasn't going to pay the bills by itself. But I didn't want to tell you. Yeah, I didn't want to stress you out. I'm super stressed out because I'm like, how am I going to do this? How can I keep coming back to this?
Yeah.
You know?
That's a real struggle in general. Like when you have a job that you're just
I've never
terrified to go
experienced
to.
No, yeah, I've never experienced, you know, you'll have a job or maybe there's one person like, but, or like maybe you're not a huge fan, but it's like you can keep going to work and it's fine. Like I've never had a job where like I am like I have a knot in my stomach to like, and like I have anxiety about it the day before.
Even thinking
like,
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I remember going home and like you were like, how'd it go? How was your
first day? Yeah.
So excited. And I'm
you're
like,
well, you did your not great.
I did not say well. I was like, it went good.
There you go, the high pitch.
I was probably twitching.
Not true.
Scrapes and cuts. Just kidding.
Hopefully
Black eye.
Black
Just
eye.
kidding. No. But anyway, so like it was, so at first I didn't tell you. I think I lasted, how long did I last?
It was like 2, maybe 3 months.
No, it was like.
Was it less than that?
It wasn't 6 months, but it was close because I was like, I had like goals like, okay, if I could just get to like 6 months, like it was maybe 4 or 5.
I think you're wrong, baby.
No, I was almost there.
Because
like
I started my other job in July.
Okay, so maybe it was 4.
It
4
probably
months.
felt longer than it was.
It was 4 months. It was, I'm going to say 4.
We'll say.
Okay. But 4 months is a lot. I mean, if you're working from like 6 a.m. to like, there was times where we left at like 7 p.m.
And then you go home and you eat and you go to bed.
I got a shower because you're like, you probably have gross stuff on you. And then like maybe say hi to your kids and then get ready. Yeah. But anyway, so there was like, it was so bad. There was times where like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. I can't go into it. But there was times where like I was just struggling so bad. I think I had already told you the mental abuse and emotional abuse that was going on. And I was asking you like, hey, can I put my notice in? Like, I think I had already talked to you and I think I like cried and everything when I told you everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're kind of like, what? But I was like, yeah. And so anyway, so I didn't even apply. Usually like I don't leave a job until I have something like situated.
Yeah, you were very much like, you got to do it the right way.
But I had so much anxiety to even go into the field again. I was like traumatized. Like, I'm like, I don't even know if I can go to work right now. I need to just like figure my life out.
Yeah.
But like, anyway, so I like went to the office and I sat down and I started crying because here's the thing. It's like, I'm such a people pleaser. Like, I feel bad that I have to like give my notice, you know? And I'm also trying to be nice and like, how do I tell them why I'm leaving with, you know, where it's like, you're not the problem, I am, you know, it's like, so I go in there and I start crying. I'm like, hey, like, I don't think this is working out. Did
you say it's not you, it's me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I was like, I don't think it's working out. I said, I don't feel like I'm fit for this job. Like I took the blame.
There you go. Good job.
Even though I had a lot of compliments from all my patients. And then, you know, and I just get stuff like, oh no, what are you talking about? you're like perfect. Or what do you like? All our patients love you, which I know they do. Cause like, I feel like my only quiet, safe place was when I was away from everyone and only with my sedated patients. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm just like, I'm safe here with you. Anyways, but like, he's like, you know, everyone talks good about you. Like, you're doing so good. Da, da, da. And,
the people pleaser comes out. You're like, oh, okay, I guess I won't quit.
No, this is where the manipulation, like he made me believe like this is all in your head. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, okay.
Is that called gaslighting?
Maybe I misunderstood. Well, here's the thing. I feel like I trusted too much. I learned really fast, like I can't put that much trust on people. Like because of his title and his like role, I just trusted that like his intentions were.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe that someone up there could be like that, you know? So then I did turn it on myself and like maybe I just misunderstood everything and everyone here for 4 months. Maybe it's me.
Yeah.
I truly believed it. So then, and I mean, and that conversation went so well, like there's a lot of smiles.
Like, oh, he's a nice guy.
Was smiling.
I was wrong.
How can I like still fall for that? Anyways, I love thinking, oh, he's so nice. What am I talking about? I don't know. Okay. Well, the next day we have like a staff meeting and he just like in front of everyone throws me under the bus like, you know, gotta be careful because you never know when someone's gonna try to leave and like
wow,
and I'm just like
interesting.
Okay, I need to try to leave again.
Is that
like,
is that a narcissist?
I'm just telling you, like there's like a lot of manipulation. Anyways, so now I'm like, I have to get out. And then I tried again, like, like I think I tried like 2 weeks later, like, hey, I tried it out, and like, yeah, I don't think it's working out. Like, I didn't cry this time because I'm like, yeah, it's not me. And he like once again was like, no, basically like, no, it's fine. Like, I think you're doing good. Like, just go back to work. Like I didn't put my notice in. I tried. I even told him like,
that's a red flag if your job won't let you leave.
They wouldn't let me leave. And then I remember one day, like, so this is what happened one day and during surgery. So you're supposed to like have a watch because like as soon as medications and like inserted in the IV, like he wants you to have the exact second. Like, and if you don't have the exact second, like he'll look at the clock and like if and he'll look what you put in, and if it's like a second off, like your head will get ripped off, right? So like I didn't have a watch and I was like a second or two off, right? And I got my head ripped off. So that day I was like, we're going to Target. I need a watch. And like as I'm at Target, I'm looking at watches and I start to like feel my chest, like I'm having a hard time breathing.
Panic attack?
I've never had anxiety like this. I've never had a panic attack like this. And my kids were like, hey mom. And I was like just struggling, hyperventilating. And then I'm like, stop, like what? And I started freaking out. And then I realized that something was happening. And you're like, Karina, are you okay? And then I started like breaking out, like crying and I couldn't breathe. In the middle of Target.
Like, I know, and I always say, like, that's your happy place usually. So if you're having a panic attack in your happy place,
dude, and as soon as you're like, are you okay? I just had a full-blown panic attack.
Yeah.
All because I was buying a watch for work.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what's going on? And I'm like, I have to get a watch. I have to get the right watch because, like, if I don't enter the meds, and then you're like, Karina, you're not going back. I'm like, no, I have to go. They're going to find me. Like, I was so scared.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, they're going to find me. They're going to be so mad. And you're like, no. And like, we went home and I'm like, okay, let me just go back and like, I'll like go in that office and be like, no, I have to, like, I'm out. You're like, no, they're not going to let you come out.
I sent an email probably.
No, so you typed an email.
Yeah. I said, screw you.
As me. No, you didn't say that. No, you sent this long email as me, a respectful, professional one.
It was respectful.
As soon as you sent it, I got tons of missed calls.
Oh, yes. I remember that. Yeah.
And then I started having a panic attack. I have to answer. They're really mad at me. And you're like, Karina, you're not going to answer because you're going to answer and you're going to get convinced to go back.
I should have answered for you probably.
Well, anyway, so, okay, that was like the only time I like didn't show up, right? But I like legitimately tried to do this, right? But it was just it was so bad where like I shouldn't be.
I feel like that was part of your anxiety too, is like you had to do it not the normal, proper, respectful way of like putting your 2 weeks
I don't even know
in.
if there was a respect. I don't even know how people leave. Anyways, well, I will say the 4 months I worked there, they were still hiring and like 5 people got hired and they didn't show the next day.
They have people on reserve.
And I was so excited that a new person was coming in because we can both cry together. And she
like,
wouldn't show up the next day. And I'm like, it's just me. Anyway, so like, yeah, but that was that. So it was horrible. And then at this point now it's like I'm legitimately like traumatized. Like I'm like, I can't even go to work right now because I need to just
also you're
process what just happened.
This is your new career, surgical dental assisting. So, but then like you said earlier, you were like, now you're like, is this what everyone is like? Like every dental, surgical dental place?
And then I wrestled with it because I'm like, okay, once again, like, God, what the heck? Like, what the heck? Why did you bring me here with like freaking Satan himself? Like, I was just like, seriously, I'm like, dude. But I will say, okay, although it caused me trauma and like anxiety and panic attack, there was a lot of skills I learned because like it's also a very high pace, very like challenging. It's just like another level. I feel like general dentistry is very laid back, very like, but this is like high pace, very like things can happen. I mean, it's just a whole nother level. But like I feel like I got better at like thinking under pressure. I got like quicker. I don't know. I feel like I grew in a lot of skills, but here's a big one. Here's a big thing that happened while I was there. One day while I was in surgery, I was like assisting side by side with him. And like I had this was the first time this ever happened to me. And once again, I'm very like hesitant with this word because I've seen it abused and used wrong. But like if I had to give it a term, I would say it was like almost like a vision, I don't know.
Maybe a daydream?
No, it wasn't a daydream. No? Well, it's...
People can like kind of identify with that.
Well, let me explain what it was maybe. But like, I'm assisting. I'm really focused because I don't want to get my head ripped off. And I have this like super vivid visual of me in a white coat working on people.
Which is significant. It's
like
a doctor,
me, like as a dentist.
Like as a dentist, okay.
And like, and then I come out of it and I like in my head... I kept my composure, but in my head, I'm freaking out. Like, did I just fall asleep? Like, was I sleeping? Did I just dream something?
It's like when you
But I'm like having a heart attack. Like, did I fall asleep? Like, did anybody notice? Okay. But it was really like, no, I was awake. And then I started to like, well, that was so weird. What the, it just worried me more that like that happened while I was like in surgery. Like that was, don't do that again. And I like brushed it off and then it happened again. Like that same day I took the patient to recover and then like it came up again and it was the same visual and it was very detailed. It felt like if I was just in the room and I was seeing everything. And then now I felt really weird because I'm like, I know I'm not asleep. And like, why is it the same visual? What does this mean? And I just have so many questions. I'm like, also like, why am I thinking this? Because like, I don't think, I mean, yes, I had the goal of being a dentist, but once again, the intention was like, it was something my brother suggested. It wasn't like a passion of mine. And like, that was in Kearney and like, I kind of gave up on that because now I'm a mom. So I just gave up on that. Like, that's not possible. It's just not for me anymore. So I was settling with like dental assisting or maybe like hygiene. But that was just not in my books for me anymore. And so now I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I remember I had it one more time the next day. And so now I'm starting to get really worried and concerned because I feel like my biggest fear is like God is trying to hint something to me. And I was hoping it was just like a silly thought of mine.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's something that God was repeating. Like it was the same visual and it kept repeating. This is the third time. And so now I'm having this like, and I haven't told you anything. And I remember like, I was like, okay, God, like, I don't know what this is. I hope it's not you. And if it is you, I hope it's not what I think it is. And I'm like, because I feel like you're trying to tell me that I need to pursue this. Like, this is what you want me to be. But let me tell you why I can't do that. And I gave him like all these reasons. Like, I'm a mom. I'm this old. It's freaking 8 years. I don't have 8 years. I don't have the money for that. So there's like a lot. But I was like, I was still praying about it because I need him to like confirm. Yeah, Karina, it's not me. Chill. Yeah. And I'd go to church, and the sermon is about David and how David used this like 15-year-old boy to do a big thing. And when he defeated Goliath, it like showed, it reflected, like it gave glory to God, right? Because because that's not possible, you know? And so he talked about how God calls the unqualified to do big things because it shows people gives like, him the glory. Gives them glory. And so this is the sermon as I'm wrestling with this thing. And now I'm like, oh no. And then I would be listening to worship music, and it talks about like the impossible and how God does the impossible with like anyone who's like willing to like, you know, who's willing to let him do those things with. And so I'm like, now I'm like just really freaking out. And like, finally I had so many signs that said, like, showed me like, okay, this is a God thing. So I had like this one heart-to-heart prayer with him before I told you, because then I have that fear of like, how do I tell Ryan this crazy idea? Like, it's crazy for me.
Even crazier for me.
And I'm the breadwinner. How do I tell you that, hey, I'm supposed to leave this and say screw our family so I can go, you know? So it's like, it was a lot. And like, so I'm having this prayer at night, and then I'm like, hey, God, okay, so I feel like you're telling me this. And then I give my reasons why I don't think he's right. And then I said, but if this is you, like, I know you've given me all these signs. I just need like just one more, like just one that's so clear that like I can't avoid it. And I'm not trying to challenge him, but I'm also like, this is just a big thing. Like, I just need some extra confirmation. And like that next morning, our oldest son, Shiloh, he's like he's got very vivid dreams and stuff, and he's a dreamer. And he wakes up and goes, Mom, I had a dream about you, and you went back to school.
There it is, from the mouth of babes.
That all happened in that situation of hell for me.
And then
so there was some good stuff, right?
Yeah, and that happens. Like, life is so hard, but it's the hard things that's where we start growing. And I saw so much growth in you around, you know, even coming out of that. Obviously there was some healing to be done, but man, like, when things get hard, that's where you really start to get refined. And so we're definitely going to get into a little bit more of that, you know, as we continue to talk about our story. But kind of leaving off, you left that job. So then all of a sudden, I just feel this strong conviction of like, I'm responsible for my family. I am like the leader of this home, right? And it's like, I need to figure out how to provide. But the thing is like, first of all, I still had a very limited mindset. And so not only that, I didn't really have any skills or anything where I could go out and get a job that's just going to provide enough, like, you know, even close to what you were making. And so I ended up doing something that you did earlier. You know, we talked about how you jumped into dental assisting, right, in our last episode, and how you didn't know, but you just went and figured it out. And so I think we knew someone who was an electrician, and, you know, I'm just like, well, what's something I could practically do and that could make money to provide? And so we had a friend that was an electrician, and so I decided to try an electrical apprenticeship. The thing is I didn't even know how to use a drill. Like, I remember the first day I had to figure out that when you push it to the right, it goes that way, and you push it to the left. Like, I was literally starting from scratch. And, you know, I got a shout out to my friend Jake. Jake actually helped us do all of these panels here, and he helped me put them up. And so I ended up being an apprentice to my friend Jake. He was a journeyman at the time. Didn't know him at the time, and got in there, and I just messed stuff up. Like, but before I dive into that, sorry, I do want to just talk about how that was a big step for me. I remember, like, a lot of moments wrestling with God of like, God, what am I supposed to do? Like, I was scared again, like, I'm not used to having to work and just figure life out on my own. But you ended up encouraging me like, hey, just go do it. You don't know what you're doing, but you can figure it out. But man, it took me a lot to figure it out. I remember this day where Jake sent me up into some rafters or something to try to like drill or put, hang some pipe, like electrical pipe. And I just like messed it up so bad up there. You
gave more work to do.
I was up there for like 4 hours on my own, and then the end of the day came. 4
hours?
Yeah, like trying to figure this out. But you had to get up in a ladder, and I ended up getting down. It was the end of the day. We all go home. So Jake didn't go up there at the end of the day. So then...
I'm sorry, Jake.
Yeah, I know, right?
I encouraged him to go.
He's probably cringing right now if he's watching this. So then the next morning I get in. He goes up there to check on my work.
Oh, no.
And he just comes
4
down.
hours?
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of wasted time.
Oh, and comes down, then what?
He comes down and he's just like, he said some choice words, but he said, what in the heck did you do up there?
Oh my gosh,
and he just started,
Ryan.
I know, I'm telling you, it was terrible. I didn't know what I was doing. And I felt so bad for him. Like, in general, like you've got journeyman, and I've heard of how it can, like the culture on the job, like you've got people above you as a journeyman telling you like, you got to get this done by this time. And they're just worked really hard. And then they're given apprentices that have no idea what they're doing all the time. Sometimes. And I was one of them, and I'm just like over there making his life miserable. So we end up getting back and forth, and I was just like, which I understand why he was so mad, but like we went back and forth, and I ended up leaving. I was like, dude, I gotta go. Like I was kind of getting frustrated too, and so I ended up going home. And I remember on my way home, I'm just like, I can't do this. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. And I get home, and I'm telling you, I'm just like. Basically, I've been at situations, in high school and as a young adult. I had jobs where stuff like this would happen, or I want to go and spend a day on the lake, but I'm supposed to work, so I just call in and I quit. Like that's kind of like the culture of working that I had, right? My work ethic. So I remember going home, and my first thing is like,
you came early, and I'm like, hey,
you're like, why are you here? I'm like, well, I kind of jacked some stuff up there, and I'm in trouble. No,
he said some good choice of words. So I left.
Some choice words, and I left. So anyway, I remember like, I don't want to go. I don't want to work. Like I don't want to be there. And yet you just came out of a situation.
You were so mad though.
Yeah,
you were like, I would say before that moment though, I could tell like, although I was proud of you for trying something new, because you legitimately didn't have any idea what you wanted to do. Yeah. So you're almost like trying out jobs to see like, what do I like? What are some interests? But like you were like coming home, and I could see like the life sucked out of you.
Yes.
And the culture in those kind of jobs is just, you're just around people who are a little rough. And so you would come home, and I could tell you were affected, and like you were just, I just felt like you were so like down and like oppressed, and like, and it also sucked though to see that, because it's like, okay, let's say you were good as an apprentice and you did become an electrician, like I could tell that you wouldn't even be happy. Like the amount of money that you'd make, I could tell that this like atmosphere was just draining you.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it was hard for, like, aside from that day, I could see that you were like dreading going to work, and you were just like lifeless and just like, anyways.
And I think, and that's a common thing, And so I come home, and we talked, and it's like, I don't want to go back, but what choice do I have? Like for the first time, it's like, dude, we got our family here. Like I've got to provide. We're far away from home. It's not like I can lean on my parents like I used to. So I went back. I remember I went back the next day, and I went to him, and I'm like, hey, like I'm back. Hey, I hope that you are enjoying this episode. I just wanted to come in real quick and let you know that we are a nonprofit podcast that is made possible largely by donations. If you have been encouraged by anything you've heard here on Life Upside Down and you feel led to give, you can click the QR code and head over to our giving page. We truly want to say thank you so much. Every gift makes it possible for us to continue to tell more people about our living God. And I talked to the boss, and I went, and here was the cool thing. That was the first time I really, really had to dig deep within myself and be like, okay, this is hard. This is really challenging, but I have no other choice. So I went back. And the cool thing was, is I actually started, it was kind of crazy. It was like this moment where I kind of started to understand things. And I don't know if it was the pressure of like I had no choice, but I really started to understand a few things and learned some things and formulas and all the other stuff that comes with being an electrician.
You learn persistence and like...
Yeah, I learned persistence and just keep it it's like, I got to push through. I got no choice. And that was really valuable. And it's cool because like I saw you do that, right? Like you persisted in a really tough situation also when we first moved. And I think that was, it was a great like...
So out of the whole thing though, did you think like God just let that experience go to waste, or was there something that was good out of it?
No, it was like, there was a lot of great things. So like, first off, going in, I knew it was a seasonal job. And so the season ended. And then I think at the end of my time there, I traveled, like I ended up traveling like 10 hours away for like a month and a half or something, which sucked terribly. But then like the work just ran out and I just wasn't good enough. They said, if you did a good enough job, we could keep you on. Right.
But you still didn't.
I did not.
You didn't want to continue.
But in general,
either, right?
I was just like, it just wasn't working out. So I stepped away from that job. I think it was like January of 2018. But out of that, I remember a few months after that, my journeyman Jake texted me.
The one that cussed you out.
Yeah, the one that yeah. He texted me and go, "Hey Ryan, I just want to let you know, like I just got baptized and I gave my life to Jesus, and I wanted to just say thank you because you were like a good witness, right? Like you were an example for me, because one thing, like the culture there was so like just, anti anything God or whatever. And it's just like, I remember they called me, some guy was like, "What are you, like a Bible thumper?" Because I would bring my Bible and like read during break, and like that was just like totally foreign in the construction world. And I remember Jake was like, "I remember seeing you read your Bible." And me and Jake also had some cool, some God conversations, because much like you, one thing you didn't touch on, but when you were in, in that job that was hard for you, you were also always looking for an opportunity to be a light, and to, you're always looking for who might need some encouragement, who might need some joy in their life, right? And that's kind of how you and I both kind of live. And so in that, as I was working alongside Jake, I would have conversations. I would try to spark up those conversations. And we had a few good conversations that were good. And he said, like, "You were just a good example for me, and I just want to say thank you for that." And that was such a cool thing, because it was a hard situation for me. I didn't really do great. I didn't necessarily succeed. It was a moment of failure for me, which was also really hard. But to hear that, it's like God is always working in things. Sometimes like we don't realize what he's doing, how he's speaking to somebody, and you think, why in the heck would you want me to be here? And later on down the road, and maybe you'll never know, but it's like God can be doing something that we don't see. And so that was really cool. But coming out of that, I remember like it was a wrestling match in my mind. I'm looking at this thing that I just did, and I'm like, I just failed. You know what I mean? Like this was a failing point, and I couldn't figure it out. And what am I going to do? I remember like, how am I going to provide for my family? I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I don't make enough money. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. And it was a very, very hard place coming out of. So that would have been about January of 2018.
Yeah, I remember you like broke down crying though, because I think that's like, as a man, like someone who's supposed to be the provider and leader, like that's something hard. You know what I mean? But like, well, I remember how you were crying and wrestling with that. And I remember
I didn't cry that much, did I?
No,
Karina?
just one tear or two.
Just a couple.
I just remember like, and like initially, like I'm always going in as like just hearing you out, because like, it's like I don't know what to say right away. Like I'm just there to be there for you and like let you just express everything, cry everything. And I'm so thankful for like God and the Holy Spirit. And like this is where I think the woman's role as like the helper is so vital. And like you're over here struggling with like, I failed, I suck, I'm letting you guys down. And like all I could think of was like, no, you went and tried something out, which like I was so thankful for. And it was hard, like something hard,
Yeah.
And like I was like, no, you didn't fail us. You went out there when it was uncomfortable, when it was hard, and you tried your best, and like them letting you go is because the season was like, it wasn't like a you thing. And like I told you, like, no, you did not fail. You did your best. And like now we know this is not your career path. So we can mark that off.
Amen.
And like it's not a failure, it just means it's not this way. So let's just try something else.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was just reminding you, like, no, it just means this isn't it. Like, let's go try another thing.
And I learned some
I think
skills.
that helped you. That helped you, like, oh, okay, like, this isn't the end.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more, you know, or more opportunities. But when you're in that box, like,
yes,
like, this is it and I failed. No,
the
it's like,
short-term,
no.
like, I failed because I'm not here anymore. Yeah.
And then I told you, like, this is like a teamwork. This isn't just, like, I didn't get married with you, like, hey, you're only supposed to provide and I'm just supposed to, like, no, it's like when you need help, when life happens, like, I'm going to help. And that right now looks like I'm going to step up. Like, we're going to tag team now, you know? Like, you let me heal from my trauma from my last experience. And, like, you didn't pressure me to go back out there. You literally just let me stay home with my kids and enjoy them and all this. And so now that you need help, I'm like, okay, well, I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to go back and apply. And so I gave you that, like, I want you to just, like, you know, be with our kids. Obviously, I think at this time we were working at, like, a coffee shop that was a Christian-owned coffee shop. And they stayed open till, like, midnight. So it was a huge blessing because we were able to, whoever wasn't the main breadwinner, the other one would work the 5 to 12. So it was still an income. So I was like, you know, I'll go back to work. I'll go apply somewhere. And then I'm going to let you just seek out the next thing you want to try.
Yeah. And so I want to say I actually started taking some classes for biblical studies. One thing, we were just talking about, and this is one thing that you've done really well and is just helping me, like, you know, brainstorm, like, what do you want to do? What's something that you could see yourself doing? And one of those things was to be a pastor. That's just like, I always kind of had that thought since I got saved, you know? And
I think that the whole thing of that is you just have a passion for, like, sharing the gospel. Like, I don't even know if, like, you know, maybe one day you'll be a pastor, I don't know, but overall you just always, like, preaching and sharing the gospel is something you, like, love.
And that's kind of the basic, like, I think that's the basic thing. It's like, oh, I want to be a pastor if I like to share the word. But yeah, there's so many ways. We're doing it right now. You know what I mean?
Music.
Yeah. A music artist.
Yeah.
I share the word through that. So I went back to school and then I was working at that coffee shop. I also was working as a music venue manager, which was totally brand new. I tried something new there. That was a really cool experience. And then you actually got another job at a...
So I told Ryan, I will go back to work, but I will never, ever, ever go work for an oral surgeon again. Because one thing that that other experience, the other place told me was, oh, this isn't me. This is how we all are. So I have this idea, like, oh, they're all crazy. Like, I don't ever want to work for one again. So I'm like, I'm going back to general dentistry. And I was napping and you came in and like, hey, I applied for you and they called you. And I was like, cool, who? And you're like, don't get mad, but it's an oral surgery place. And I'm like, I was like, you know, just like, what? You know, but it was like 5 minutes away from us. And I went to go interview and I was like ready with more questions. Like, I'm going to just really know you. And this guy was like a Christian guy. So it's just a completely different atmosphere, whole different experience. And it was like smaller. It was just him and like 3 assistants. So it was just way different, and it was a way better experience. And I think with them, I lasted like almost 4 years before I went to school. Like, I stepped into school. So
So we'll step from there, and the next kind of point is when we moved into an apartment because of the job, it was so quick. We took the first thing, like, when we first moved. Yeah, when we first moved, we took the first place we could get, and our plan was like maybe to be there for a year. And then I remember when you quit that job, that just threw a huge wrench in everything.
Yeah.
And so I want to say, so around the spring of 2018, our lease was coming up.
So we had already lived in this apartment for 2 years.
No, not yet. No.
Okay, not yet. Okay.
We were there for about a year.
Okay.
And then our lease was expiring and we had to figure out, are we going to do another lease? And originally it was a year and we were supposed to try to get a house and all that stuff. And I remember our plan kind of got blown up and we were starting to outgrow our house. We've got we had more kids. And I remember us just struggling because like we were outgrowing the apartment, I should say. And we had a really hard moment of like, financially things weren't great because, our plan got blew up and we're just like, we didn't really see a way out. Like, how are we ever going to get in a house? How are we ever going to, advance in a career and like figure this out? Because again, we're also doing it different. We're like doing opposite shifts and it's just hard,
Yeah.
And so I remember a night where you were just really struggling. And here's
I was someone who like, I would like to sit down and like write all our numbers, our budget. Usually we would have extra going in savings, but now we don't have savings. Yeah. We just have barely enough to get us by with our necessities. And we're over here like, we need to move out, but I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, there is no hope. And so I'm usually the optimistic one. Like, I'm like, oh no, we're gonna get out of here. Like I can just be very optimistic almost through anything.
Yeah.
This specific night we were sitting down talking about like our numbers and like it looks so bad. I remember just getting up and like crying and just going to bed crying because I'm like,
and if you're married, that like, oh, that's the worst. Like, Karina, when you are like that, it like I have no peace in me. I'm like, I got to fix it. And that's another thing about men. Like we want to fix things and I want to know exactly what can I do to make you happy. And you went to bed and I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, and I'm over here like, God, what can I do? Like, there's nothing that I can do to wave a wand that gives us more money, that allows us to do what we want to do. And I remember sitting in the shower and I was just down and I'm just like leaning over and I have my eyes closed and kind of like what you were talking about earlier. Was it a vision? Was it a daydream? Whatever you want to call it. I get this very clear picture in my head and I'm driving on a street and I take a right. And then it was so vivid on the right, it looked like a gas station. There was this gas station overhang on my right. And it's just this clear picture. And I'm just sitting there, eyes closed. And I remember just opening my eyes and I just sit up and I'm like I just have this peace. And this is Philippians 4, 6, and 7, be anxious for nothing, but in all things through prayer and petition with thanksgiving, make your requests made known to God, and the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus.
Dang, Ryan.
Yes.
That's a long one.
I actually memorized that verse around this time.
Because you were not peaceful. I mean, I went crying. You were anxious.
Yeah, I was. I was like, God, I don't know what to do. What are we going to do? Like, what in the world? And I come out of this with this clear picture of a right turn and I just have peace. And I just sense God saying, I got you.
But nothing else makes sense.
But nothing else. I don't know anything about what was that thing I just saw, whatever. But like the Spirit of God just gave me this peace. It was so deep. And I remember going to you and I remember we talked about it a little bit. And it's like, here's the thing, like, you have a close relationship with God and you were struggling. But at the end of the day, I feel like we're able to come together and it was like, okay, we get the peace of God. Again, that peace of God that makes no sense because the reality was our circumstances hadn't changed. Nothing changed. There was no money that came in, but there was just this deep sense of peace that God gave me. And then I was able to kind of relay that to you like, hey, I know things don't look great, but God's got us. So we left that night there. It was a whole nother year. A year passes and we're still in the apartment. We literally come up to a situation that was almost identical.
And we have our third kid.
Yes. And so now we're growing. Now we're outgrowing for real. We've got a third child in a 2-bedroom with a den apartment. There was a den in there, but it was tiny. And so we come on to the situation. Karina, you're struggling again. You're just like, we're looking at the numbers again. Makes no sense. How in the heck are we going to get out of this? And so you go to bed again and I stay up again and I'm just like, same thing. God, what in the world are we supposed to do? We're still here in the same situation as we were a year before. And I remember we get up, you got up in the morning and we sat down before you went to work. So it was extra early. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do, but God's got us. We've seen him. We've seen his hand in our life, in our own stories, in our story leading up to this. We're just like, I don't know how, but God's got us. And I remember you left off to work, like maybe not with a deep sense of peace, but with like what else are we going to do? All right, we're just going to trust in the Lord.
I was crying on the way
So
home,
now
on the
talk
way to
about
work.
in the
So
car.
I'm crying to work because I'm like having this like just this like out loud conversation, like expressing, God says to like lay it all,
Cast your cares
like
on
give it
him.
all. So I'm just like, God, like we need a house because like we have 3 kids. We're just outgrowing it, and like I feel like a failure, like for my kids and all this stuff, and like I was just like, please, just like we need a breakthrough. We need something. And I'm crying. I turn on the radio, and there's a song that says, it's called The Impossible. And it talks about how he can do the impossible when it doesn't make sense. And it's like, it says, like, have you forgotten who he is?
Don't stop believing in miracles.
And then it says, don't stop believing in miracles, and how, like, your faith can move mountains and all this stuff. So, and as this song is, well, there was a song playing, and then it's
No,
cut.
you said they were talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're talking, and then the song
radio.
randomly like
Cuts in
and plays. Like
Yeah.
they're giving like morning news or something.
Yeah.
And it cuts in. So it was clearly not supposed to play yet because they weren't done. And the song is speaking
directly to
me, the things that I'm over here crying about. And he's like, the song was technically like challenging me, like, don't you believe in miracles? Like, basically, don't stop. Don't, like, he's still this and he's still God. And I'm just like weeping even more. And I just felt this peace. You know what I mean? And then I thought it was because, well, I cried it out. I gave it to him, so I have peace. But like, I think God did something that morning. And that was the same day that you called me during my lunchtime.
So she calls me crying on her way to work, like, oh my gosh, I got this happened, blah. And she's just
I
crying.
cry a lot, guys.
Yeah, she does. And apparently I do. You've been talking about all these times I'm crying. So anyway, so I'm just like, oh, yes. Like, I love that because, again, when it's like happy wife, happy life. Like, when you're struggling with something, I'm just like, I can't be at peace. You know what I mean? And so I was just thankful because I feel like it's easier sometimes for me to just be content and like, yeah, we're in an apartment. We're good. So I get off the phone and I'm just like, awesome. Thank you, God. You gave us peace at least, if nothing else. So then I'm on this call with a pastor friend of mine and talking about something random, and our lease was coming up soon. Again, we were having a part of the struggle was like, we had to figure out, are we going to sign a new lease? Like, how are we going to do this thing? And I'm having this conversation like, yeah, like we would like to be in a house, but like, I don't know that we're going to be able to yet. And so he randomly goes, oh, I actually have this Christian brother. He's got this house. It's a 6-bedroom house and he's looking to rent it. And I think he even said like, that he was going to go cheaper for if they're believers, like just
like
to
he
help
wanted to bless someone with it,
a fellow Christian or whatever. I'm like, oh, cool. And then he's like, yeah, so here, I'll give you his number. So I call this guy and it was so crazy. Like we talked like we were friends, like just immediately like, oh, hey, how you doing? And we started talking about God and Jesus and we're talking about our faith and life. And I was like, yeah, so like I heard you have this house. And I don't think he told me yet about it, but my friend didn't tell me about it. But then he's like, yeah, it's like a 6-bedroom house and it's this much. And like one of the things with like, were we going to be able to get in a house was, would we be able to afford it? Because like, housing isn't cheap. Even renting can be expensive.
And I was going to touch on this really quick. I think the thing with all this, so it's like, there were so many times where we were both tempted to just throw in our commitment that we made to our family from the very beginning and just be like, oh, we both just have to go to work. Like,
yeah,
there are so many times where we're like, we just have to both go to work. Like, we can't do this.
Get 2 incomes going, yeah.
But then we just would like, no, we can do this. And it was just really hard because we had to keep clinging on to like what we felt like the Lord called us to do and what we like committed to from before we had kids. Like, no, this is what we said we want for our family. We have to stay true to that. And even when it's hard, like we have to do it. So anyways, so the thing with buying a house is like, it was hard because it's like sometimes it felt like, well, are we willing to both go to work to buy a house? Or are we going to, and this house just
So this, and just
worked
to
out.
clarify, this was for rent at the time, but even rent for us was like, dude, if we can get in a house that can fit all of us, right? So he's telling me, he's like, yeah, it'd be this much. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's in our budget. But then one of the other things is like, when you're trying to rent a house, you have competition. So then I'm like, oh, well, what if we can't get it? So I asked him, like, so do we need to put in like an application or something? And he's like, no, I trust my friend who referred you. So it's yours if you want it. And I was like, okay, so when is it ready? He's like, oh, in about a month, which was literally exactly like perfect timing. Our lease ends and then we can move in there. And so like everything's lining up and I'm just like, whoa, like that's awesome. So I call Karina and I'm like, Karina, this house, this thing like came out of nowhere. I talked to this guy and we were just so excited. And that's where like the peace that you got that was so strong
that morning
was so powerful.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, we talk about like real stories that point to a living God. And we've seen this stuff where it's like, it just perfectly lines up at just the right time, at just when we need it. It's like, dude, no, like it's not coincidence. It's not luck. Like God is still working, but oftentimes it also takes a lot of faith, a lot of trusting when you don't know. You know what I mean? Like one of the things I love about the parting of the Red Sea. So God does this miracle. It says like, or I should say the parting of the Red Sea and the parting of the Jordan River. There was a separate parting of the Jordan River. And it talks about how a wind swirled up and parts the sea. So there's this incredible like thing. You're standing at the bank of this river and it parts and the sea is parted, but you still have to have faith that if you step out into the middle of that river, the wind isn't going to stop and it's not just going to crash down on you. And so we've just seen these times. And Karina, you get this peace in that morning, and that like 2 hours later, I end up in this conversation about this house that is exactly what we need, that's available right when we need it. And so it's like, God is still moving. He's still working. Now, the question becomes, are you willing to step out in faith and trust him, right? And so we're so excited. And that night, we got the address, and that night, we're just so excited. I'm like, we need to go see this house. Like, we were just so excited. And this is where it gets so crazy. Like, I'm driving there, and all of a sudden, we get up to this turn, I turn right, and I am not kidding you. It was the same exact turn from my vision that was a year prior.
That gave
when
you
I
peace.
was in, yes, that vision that gave me peace when I was in the shower. Not even kidding you, down to like, so I took a right, and then on my right, there was what I thought was a gas station. This is another lesson. I feel like sometimes the Lord gives us pieces of what's coming, like he did that vision, and we don't always get the full picture. So I thought it was a gas station. It was a car wash, and there's like a gas, something that looks like a gas station overhang. I turn right, and there it is on the right. And I remember when I took that right, it all of a sudden just clicked. It's like it came back to me. Like I kind of forgot about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I saw in the shower. And I'm just like, okay, God is totally in this, right? Like whatever this is, this house, this rental. And so we are on our way to see this house. And it was like, whoa, God is in this. We've got plenty more of the story to come, so make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you're never left out on what's to come.